Yes, you heard that right. Kendrick Lamar's return just got way closer. And with the news we just received, the new album coming this summer and the Iceman melting because of all of it, things are heating up. If you're ready to get into this and see how Kendrick Lamar is making some final calls behind the scenes and getting ready to hit rap's real red button, well, before we go any further, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hype up the video. And before we get any deeper into what's going on here, as for Drake and Akademiks, who had a date together, and the Iceman, who were terrified of this return as well, the guy they finally thought was out of the way, the same guy who turned them into an absolute comedy show, is getting closer than ever to coming back and ending this little moment they think they have. With what this is going to mean and what it is about to do, really make sure to leave a like so these calculator bot music listeners understand that despite thinking they are back, it's going to be over sooner than they could ever expect. And if you thought the summer of 2024 was bad, Drake, we know you hated that July. This July honestly might get worse. Because when we look at everything happening now, just when I and others thought it was enough that industry sources started reporting on Kendrick Lamar's new album being finished and reaching its final stages, getting ready to drop very soon, we got even more information and more news. Really, when we break it down, one of the top 5 most important people in Kendrick Lamar's entire circle, in terms of the key they hold, came out as speculation reached new heights, and everyone started wondering what comes next. That next piece of the puzzle came from the producer Deetsz, or Deetsz on the Beat as he also goes by, one of Kendrick Lamar and Baby Keem's right-hand collaborators, a guy who does not post too much, broke his usual pattern. He normally only shares accomplishments and work he has created with Kendrick and Baby Keem for fans to see online. That alone should tell you how important this is. If all he ever does is talk about his work with Kendrick and Keem and what they accomplished, and he is saying something here, that shows something significant when this guy gets to the keyboard. So, with what happened, he came out on Friday, May 22nd, and during the afternoon, completely out of nowhere, right after reports of a new Kendrick album had taken over social media and timelines about 24 to 48 hours earlier, he simply posted the words, "Let's get it." And this is absolutely crazy. Let me tell you why. With the report we received and seeing Deetsz, of all people, mysteriously and cryptically posting just those 3 words, this is not just anybody from Kendrick Lamar's circle speaking. This is not simply anyone Kendrick Lamar has worked with. At this point, with how much Deetsz almost exclusively works with Kendrick and Keem, you could practically call him a PG Lang in-house producer. That's the first major point here, but it doesn't stop there. This guy holds what may be the single most important key we know exists for Kendrick Lamar right now in his entire career. And if we go to his Genius page, you will see why if you did not already know. The guy has an incredible body of work. You see records like Family Ties and Gloria. He produced Baby Keem's self-titled track, which was amazing. But do you also see that right there, he produced Bodies, or Tiramisu as it is known by, or whatever else you want to call this song. This was the record teased the day GNX was announced, a record that was never released but has become increasingly important as Kendrick Lamar continues making move after move. And this record came from his very hands and mind. So now, stacking this together with the report from the industry insider, who has been right all year and even had information on Baby Keem's new album, reporting this major update on what Kendrick is doing now, and now Deetsz himself coming out and saying, "Let's get it," alongside all this movement and reports that Kendrick Lamar has been finishing the album and preparing to turn it in, we already know about the other signs. We have seen signals from people in TDE, from Dave Free himself, and from others who have shown just how disciplined Kendrick Lamar has been. We even saw it again during a conversation Isaiah Rashad had with Kendrick Lamar, where Isaiah revealed how Kendrick thinks and how brutally honest and in-depth he is about his creative process. So now, stacking all of this together, you're telling me we are adding to the list the words and teasing from someone so closely affiliated with Kendrick and Keem, someone who produced the most important record they have coming right now, as far as we know?
Listen, if this were any other producer or any other moment, I would say slow down and wait until we have more puzzle pieces to build a bigger picture. But the stakes here are way too big. There are too many major signals pointing toward the fact that Kendrick Lamar is coming, and he is not just arriving with a new album, a surprise drop, and everything we saw during the last rollout. Everything is coming together right here. This is Kendrick Lamar's summer, and the next chapter of his career is about to begin. Honestly, the stakes are so massive right now that we can say the next chapter of hip-hop is coming with it. That is the mantle this moment is carrying. And that is only going to make more sense the sooner all of this finally goes down. Because even when we think about the Bodies record and the possibility of new Kendrick Lamar music, fans were already speculating and nearly manifesting something a few weeks ago, especially with how sources are reporting now and everyone coming out talking about Heart Part 7. The more we think about what a heart track means and what an installment in one of the greatest song series of all time represents, when you consider what GNX was and how Kendrick Lamar moved and continues to move, it really does seem like the major puzzle piece welcoming us into Kendrick's era could be the record we heard before GNX, that Bodies record, which some, including me, believe is Heart Part 7. That is the key to all of this. And before we even hear the new Kendrick Lamar album Kendrick is finishing and everything it could possibly mean, it seems we may finally be getting the most anticipated song in all of hip-hop right now. I would even say it may be the most mysterious song in the history of the genre. Because seriously, there has never been a song in rap like this. A song that sits at the center of an album trailer and then appears again at the start of the Super Bowl halftime show, the biggest live musical performance of all time, yet still remains unreleased. We haven't heard it, we haven't seen it, but we know the artist behind it. And at the end of the day, this would not be done unless something very significant was happening. I think we're going to find that out very soon, and it's going to open Kendrick Lamar's album rollout in a way that when compared to Drake becomes even more striking. While Drake's fans and the media personalities he takes out to dinner interact with the music on a dull and superficial level, where the entire conversation revolves around numbers and validating them, pulling out more statistics like it's a math test, a business portfolio, or something similar, Kendrick appears to be doing something entirely different. When you think about how Kendrick has teased this massive record, expanded different pieces of it, and now seems ready to finally release it as part of the most significant song series of any rapper in this era, without us fully understanding why he is presenting it this way, it's almost funny to think about how powerful the Kendrick discourse is about to become, and we already know how powerful it has been. There's a genuine mystery here. Even what we are discussing right now proves that. We are already having deeper conversations about Kendrick Lamar's artistry than we ever would about Drake, even if Drake released 43 new songs tomorrow. And with this moment, we are already seeing that there are levels to this music thing. This is what art at the highest level can invoke. And I believe that is going to become more true than ever, because as I said in the last video when we discussed Kendrick Lamar's next move, what is coming and how it fits into the rap game, the release of Bodies or Heart Part 7, or whatever this record ultimately ends up being called, is not simply going to mark the arrival of a new album or Kendrick Lamar's return. It's not just about finally getting this highly anticipated record. Unlike leaked songs or teased music that eventually surfaces, even what we just saw with Drake and a record like National Treasure, this song and what it represents, whatever Kendrick is building toward, is going to show us something much bigger. This new album is going to be Kendrick Lamar's biggest ever in terms of scope, and what it means for his career in every sense of the word is going to elevate the entire game. Because what I keep thinking about and what I want everyone else to think about and help me figure out if you have any ideas is this. If Bodies played in the GNX trailer and ended abruptly, then the album dropped immediately after, and then Bodies played again during the Super Bowl halftime show and ended abruptly once more, right before the biggest entrance to the
biggest show in music. The third time this record has been presented to a global audience. It has to be the charm here. Kendrick has to be working in threes, and we have to get the full song. If you look at the clear pattern of how this record has been used as a motif to precede the biggest moments of Kendrick Lamar's run, even with producer Deetsz saying this now, it only adds more weight to the theory. This is why it matters. This is why, with the reports we are receiving, it would be a disservice not to talk about it right now. Because again, while Akademiks and Drake are out having dinner and adding up numbers like they are taking a math test, Kendrick Lamar has left a warning right in front of all of us to figure out. Something absolutely massive, and I mean massive, is coming the next time this record is heard. I honestly cannot put into words how big this could be. And I am assuming we are finally going to hear the finished version and the full vision. Because if the pattern is song plays, GNX drops, song plays again at the Super Bowl halftime show, and then we hear it once more, teased as if it could become Heart Part 7, then whether the moment is the song itself and Kendrick is hiding something deeper within it, or whether it is leading into the album or something entirely different he is working on, everything seems to be building towards something larger. Maybe it is even a surprise bigger than a new body of work. I do not know what that could be, but I am putting the possibility out there. I would be very nervous right now if I were standing on the opposite side of Kendrick or rooting for his downfall. Because whatever he has planned, it is going to be mind-boggling. It is going to be insane. The hints have been sitting right in front of us, telling us to be ready. Just as I said regarding the Industry Insider's report, Kendrick Lamar is ready to drop at any moment from here on out. He is ready to go and ready to step back outside. We do not know when the madness will begin. We do not know when we will open those timelines and see that the king of the rap game is back. That is why there is such urgency to stay ready, because this feels so important. Honestly, it probably hasn't happened yet, but at this level, Kendrick could have already unleashed the surprise. That is the uncomfortable part, knowing something is blooming, but not knowing when it will arrive. Not necessarily for fans, but for the Akademikses, the Drakes of the world, and all the OVO stans. Listen, Drake can keep talking about the fake streams narrative, something he knows is a lie and tried to push his truth if he wants. But deep down, he understands the dominance and impact Kendrick Lamar carries. He knows what Kendrick Lamar is capable of. And even if he doesn't, even if he lives inside this fantasy that billions of dollars were aligned against him and Kendrick Lamar was somehow the face of that downfall, the result remains the same. Either Kendrick is the face of a campaign that Drake believes is against him, or Kendrick is simply the better artist, better tactician, and stronger rival in this competition. Either way, Drake knows how this ends. And honestly, that is what makes this so funny and raises the stakes even higher. Because we are still in the middle of this chapter in hip-hop where these two are going at each other. For Drake, Akademiks, and everyone still trying to validate their side of the argument, it is becoming harder and harder to hold on to something against Kendrick. That difficulty is exactly why the efforts have become more aggressive, more annoying, and louder with the smears they push. And that is what is going to make all of this even funnier. The more I think about Kendrick's moves and what he is trying to accomplish at the center of all this, especially with the Bodies record, the more interesting it becomes. If Kendrick Lamar releases this record now, after teasing it in 2024, but deciding to finish and release it in 2026, I keep thinking about why he would make that decision and what it might mean. Right now, I am speaking purely as a fan trying to understand the picture. I do not know anything for certain. But there is something fascinating about the idea that Kendrick Lamar is almost moving through time with this song, revisiting the past to push forward the future and communicate a greater vision connecting all of these chapters. I know that may not sound perfect, but clearly something about the chronology here feels intentional. Kendrick Lamar is not doing this just to satisfy fan demand or to play into popularity because people like the song. That's not who he is. He's not somebody like Drake. And if he were, he would never preview a record in this way. That leaves us wondering even more why he designed everything to unfold like this. It's a mystery, but it also has the potential to become one of the most important moments imaginable. Still, who really knows where this is headed? Even when you think about Bodies and everything surrounding it, Kendrick Lamar has given this record remarkable exposure and visibility. Yes, he played it during those massive global moments, but he also performed it during the first half of the Grand National Tour, while playing stadiums during what became the biggest hip-hop tour of all time. Then suddenly, he removed it from the set list during the second half of the tour. He specifically removed it from the shows I attended. At the first MetLife Stadium show, I watched Kendrick perform Bodies, run through the usual set list, and transition to N95. But on the second night, Bodies was gone, and after that, he did not continue performing it throughout the rest of the tour. Instead, on that second night, a massive red GNX prop suddenly appeared on stage, covered with a huge red tarp. That car appeared precisely when Kendrick removed the song from the set list. I think we have forgotten about that detail amid everything that has happened in rap over the last year, because so much has taken place. But realistically, we should not forget it. There was clearly something important happening there. It wasn't just Kendrick deciding to introduce a new prop, especially while already on the road and performing in stadiums after having done the show the previous night. That felt intentional and significant. And when we think about how that same red GNX appeared in the Luther music video, the picture becomes even more interesting. Listen, Kendrick Lamar has placed all these pieces in front of us. We can see the puzzle. We can see the fragments, the sections, and the scattered clues. And while the insider source, who has been accurate about everything so far, is helping us understand things better by confirming that something is coming soon, there are still layers here we do not fully understand. There are ideas that feel deliberate, powerful, and deeply intentional, but the full picture remains hidden. So, with all of this, I'll just say this. Look around at rap right now. Look at the people with calculators, plates, and seats next to Drake on Deetsz, enjoying this Iceman moment and celebrating records like Janice going #1 while throwing disses at Kendrick and confidently trying to label him a fraud. Now think about what is about to happen. Think about what could be coming. Think about the fact that Kendrick Lamar has thought through every single move 10 times over. He is prepared for the best and worst outcomes 10 times over. The guy is a genius strategist, and because he understands exactly who he is facing, people who ride trends and false narratives to build thrones for convenience and illusion, Kendrick knows he is already positioned to win. There is no alternative in his mind. Just like during the Drake beef, Kendrick believed he would win from the moment he entered the battle. Not because anything was rigged, but because he understood how unprepared and complacent the opposition truly was. And when the time came to stand against someone operating at Kendrick's level as an MC and competitor, that outcome was always going to be difficult to avoid. So now, with Kendrick seemingly on the edge of starting this all over again, and with the stakes higher than ever, and everything these Icemen are chasing, the fall could be even greater. Lock this in. Watch how the collaborators are moving, and until Kendrick drops again, or we discover something major, enjoy this moment while it lasts. For everyone enjoying hip-hop with a calculator beside them, when Kendrick drops, everything is about to change, and there is no getting it back. So, with all that said, let me know your thoughts about this Kendrick news and everything that may be coming. What do you think about the possibility of Bodies being the record that drops, potentially becoming Heart Part 7, and what Kendrick might be aiming for? If you made it this far into the video, you are amazing. I appreciate the support. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hype up the video if you haven't already. This is going to be a wild week in hip-hop, whether Kendrick Lamar returns now, which I still don't think happens yet, or not, because a lot of strange things are about to unfold. And if you want to see how, before all of this, Drake lost millions on Iceman, and how things may be going downhill for him, despite believing he just had the biggest successful moment of his career in years, you are not going to want to miss that one. It's going to be important as we watch the rest of this hip-hop weekend unfold. So, check out the suggested video. Hey, hey, hey.